first thing is don't lift heavy always. I'll elaborate just a little bit on each one of these things. Year-round power lifters don't lift heavy, okay? Now you might be thinking, well, what does that mean exactly? Meaning if a power lifter is like peaking out and they are at like 80, 90, 95% of their maximum potential on a squat, bench, or deadlift, we are not going to continuously do that year round. Unfortunately, you can't, because your body will get adaptive resistance. You'll end up getting injured, or you'll end up putting yourself in a position to where you're getting actually weaker. So make sure that you understand that you are going to have to go through different aspects of this lifting in order to be able to get stronger. And I'm going to just move this just a little bit because it's driving me nuts. I don't know why. Okay, I was trying a ring light, but clearly that's blinding the hell out of me, so it's not going to work. The next thing, number 2, is master your technique. If you have not been squatting, benching, and deadlifting for 2 or 3 years straight, then just worry about finding a groove. What squat stance works for you? What are you a wide squatter? Are you a narrow squatter? Does it help you to throw your hips back? Does it help you if you let your knees fall forward? Does it help you in a deadlift to do sumo versus conventional? Do you do somewhere in between, like a hybrid pull? So just work on maybe wide grip versus narrow grip versus a regular grip. Arch versus no arch on bench press. So just master your technique. And I don't say master because you are not going to become a master of your technique. And I think till way later, probably never. Always you're going to be learning some little tips or tricks that work for yourself or something like that. So keep that in mind. Number 3, take notes. I'm ridiculous about this. If I notice that the squat bar feels better on my back in a high bar position, and I just noticed this the other day, right below my traps, right at the very tippy bottom of my traps, and then low bar feels good in just an exact same spot, and then if I do extra wide bench press, more than a thumb away from the tip of my thumb, it gives me extreme shoulder pain in my left shoulder, and then that radiates into my bicep tendon, and it just gives me problems, whether it's like deadlifting or anything like that. So take those notes. Like, those are really important, and it's not like you're going to forget, but if you write something down and you keep a little logbook of your lifting, like your PRs and everything like that, and then just put notes in there, you'd be surprised looking back on those, whether it's a year or 5 years from now or a month from now or a couple days from now, what you didn't remember. And you're like, oh yeah, that's why my arm's hurting. Or, oh my gosh, my shoulder hurts because of this. So take notes. Number 4, go through phases. I kind of touched on this, that we don't lift always heavy. But you do need to take yourself through multiple phases. You have to worry about general physical preparedness, meaning like, are you actually healthy enough to squat, bench, and deadlift? And are you able to go from one lift to another? So you have like a bodybuilding phase where you're muscle building. You have kind of phases that are, focused solely on building muscle, but just to assist those power lifts. You have obviously strength phases, and then you have peaking phases. So you need to make sure that you're taking yourself through each and every single one of these phases, so that first of all, you can give your body a break from one versus the other. So you can come down from the 90 percentiles to down to 70 and 80%, and actually build muscle and become a better power lifter through working on the things that you suck at and stuff like that. So the next thing is do 3. What does that say? What? Oh, I thought it said do 3 to 5 reps. And I'm like, what the fuck? Well, we're not going to even talk about like program design or anything like that. If you guys want to talk about that in the future and you want a video of that, I will definitely make one. Do 3 to 5 rep maxes, okay? If you're especially if you're new and you're like, I kind of suck at this. If you do take yourself to a position to where you're like, I want to test out my strength, try a 5 rep max is pretty safe. You can even come down to like a 3 rep max or something like that. But you don't have to do heavy singles. And heavy singles are usually left for people that know how to strain. But also, probably more importantly than that, people that are in a position to strain on a single. If they've been doing doubles and triples, then they're probably in a better position. If you're in a bodybuilding phase and you're doing like sets of 8 or 10 on a deadlift, not that you'd be doing that, but just as an example, then you should probably not be pulling heavy singles because they are wildly different. And you need to slowly bring yourself up to peak strength and be able to pull a heavy single. So keep that in mind. Do a mock meet or a powerlifting meet. Stop saying, oh, I'm going to get strong enough before I do this. I will say that I personally did not want to do a powerlifting meet until I could deadlift 600. My first powerlifting meet, I deadlift 600. But it didn't take me that long to get there, like after really focusing on it. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to do a powerlifting meet until I deadlift 1,000. Well, you're probably never going to do a fucking powerlifting meet, so keep that in mind. Just do one, get your feet wet, but more importantly, because it gets you in the groove, you see how everything works, and then when you really do have some formidable numbers, you don't suck at a powerlifting meet, because there is so much more to just than lifting. Lifting's the fun part, but a powerlifting meet can be quite stressful for a lot of people trying to figure out how everything works and adding on all of that. By the way, if you do need a coach, I will coach you, and I will fly to you, wherever you are in the world. So keep that in mind, just so you know. The next one is number 7, volunteer at a powerlifting meet. I volunteered at probably, 15 or 20 at least before I even competed, because I wanted to see how everything operated. I didn't want to show up blind and not knowing what was going on. Plus, you figure out how everything's loaded, you feel how the weights feel, you get to know people in the industry, and they see you, and it's like, oh, hey, you're here at your first competition. I'm so excited, and it's really cool. Plus, they usually give you like some kind of stipend, and then they feed you lunch, and they pay for your gas. You get a free t-shirt. I got tons of t-shirts. So it's pretty cool. Next one, don't skip training. You're going to have bad days, okay? You're going to have days where you don't want to do it, but just show up. A shitty day is better than a day that you didn't do. The next one is do accessories. I don't know how many powerlifters that I see that constantly are beating themselves up because they're not doing the accessories. Yeah, maybe good mornings aren't fun and planks suck and weighted decline sit-ups are shit, or reverse hypers make you breathe weird, or you don't want to do dog goblet squats with 15-20 reps, or you don't want to do sled drags, or you don't want to do, stairs, or you don't want to do everything. Like, I get it. Like, we are powerlifters. We just want to lift one really heavy thing and go home glorious, but that doesn't work like that. Film yourself, specifically on a squat, maybe the depth, and watch your line of bar travel from the side. Make sure that bar is going in the middle of mid-foot. Deadlifts, make sure your body's round, or your body's round, your body's not round. Maybe get everything locked in. Watch how far the bar is from your body when you're pulling. It could be 8 inches, 10 inches out, and that's why it's so heavy. Get it closer to your body. Bench, is your forearm and elbow stacked over each other, or is it like this? Get a side angle or something like that. So film yourself to be able to critique your own list to get better. Next one is learn what you suck at. Okay. I don't want to say I suck at bench. My bench is definitely coming up. But I suck at certain parts of the bench, off the chest, and I have stuff that helps me for that. My feet up bench. I do wide grip bench because I got a weak chest. I got strong triceps. Deadlift. Lockout's a strong one for me, or a weak one for me. So I do block pull so I can overload the top end. So just find out what you suck at and try to figure out things to annihilate those things. Decide what you want from it, from powerlifting in general. What the fuck do you want to do with this? What are you trying to do? For me, I didn't even know I was going to be a power lifter, honestly. I was running like races and did a marathon and lost a bunch of weight and then started lifting heavy. And I was like, wow, this is actually a lot of fucking fun. So now in the beginning, I didn't really have a focus other than just getting stronger and lifting. And that's okay in the beginning. But eventually, I think, streamlining your focus and starting to look at potentially either taking records or just taking personal bests each time. It doesn't have to be like, I want to be a world record holder, because that's not for everybody. But you could say, I want to improve my deadlift this year by 50 pounds. That's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be some crazy ass thing. Like, I want to deadlift 900 pounds. Not everybody's going to do that or gives a shit to. So just keep that in mind, to just get like some kind of focus each time so that you are continuously dragging yourself towards that goal. Learn from a power lifter. And I think that's probably important. I think everybody, including me, probably should have started with powerlifting, because you learn how to squat, you learn how to bench, and you learn how to deadlift. And in all honesty, if you learn from a power lifter, they're not going to let you squat if you're not going to fucking depth. And go to a public gym, every motherfucker in there is not squatting to depth. And it's whatever. Like, I'm sure I did it too. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. So learn from somebody that really does understand a little bit more about the 3 big lifts and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Next one, don't rush. Don't rush meaning, well, first of all, obviously don't rush your workout. But more importantly, don't rush the process. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get better at squat, bench, and deadlift. And you are going to do amazing. But realize it's not a 5-second process. In 2 or 3 years, I don't know how long it's been, I've taken 15 Arizona state records. And I'm currently working on possibly going for an American record. So it takes time, okay? And I think I'm probably pretty naturally strong. My first power lifts when I started were bench was 303, my squat was 452, and my deadlift was 600. Now my squat is 584. My bench is 347 or 353, I think is the best. And then my deadlift is 639. So it takes time, okay? But just those little fractional moves have taken a lot of records. So just keep that in mind. Next one is 15 is don't slack. Don't slack. Don't rush, but don't slack. Seriously. If you want to get anywhere, you'd better not be a slacker. If you don't have a good fucking solid work ethic, powerlifting's not going to be for you. 16, be consistent. No on and off again. If you start powerlifting and you take yourself through a strength cycle and then a fucking year or 2 later you decide to come back to it, you better be ready for like a solid fucking stint of time. It's not going to be like, I'm going to powerlift for 3 months and then 3 years later, I'm going to powerlift for a month. Oh my God, why am I not fucking stronger? It doesn't work like that, so don't be a dumbass. Next one is plan your year in advance, or at least at the bare minimum, 6 months. Powerlifters are signing up for competitions as early as a year out. As soon as they open up registration, powerlifters are ready because they take themselves through 3 or 6 months of training to be able to peak out properly. So they're not going to be like, I'm doing the 5K tomorrow, I'll just pick a couple bucks extra. It does not work like that. Powerlifting is way in advance because you have to meet personal best by a certain criteria of time, and you can't do that just next day. Next thing is buy only what you need. I see powerlifters all the time spending a couple $100 on squat shoes, $300 or $400 on a custom belt, some really nice deadlift socks, and some beautiful knee sleeves, and a couple $100 singlet, and all of this shit. This gym bag, this fucking water bottle, these shit. Dude, if you fucking don't have the work ethic to be able to put yourself through a proper training cycle and stick with it, fuck off. Stop buying shit. Like, there are some bare minimums that I recommend. If you have poor ankle mobility and you have a hard time getting to depth on a squat without your heels lifting, maybe a squat shoe is a good idea. Okay, you can buy one used on OfferUp or Craigslist, eBay, or you can get a cheap pair for like $100 new, like the Adidas or something like that. You get a powerlifting belt. There's an Asus one for $40. It's 10 millimeters by fucking 3 or 4 inches or whatever the hell the requirement is, and it works perfectly fine. And I'll put it in the link in the description below. Some fucking knee sleeves, like some 7 millimeter knee sleeves. You don't have to have, some expensive stuff. Just make sure they don't have the glue on the inside so that you can use them in a competition. Local meets are not as strict as championship or national meets as far as the equipment is concerned. Some deadlift socks. And a singlet. If you're going to be powerlifting, you can get a singlet for $39, and I'll link that stuff below. You don't need a bunch of bougie ass shit. You don't need a $300 weight belt. For what? What the fuck do you need a $300 weight belt for? If you are the type of person that you're like, well, I said I'm going to be a powerlifter, I'm going to fucking be a powerlifter. Buy a $300 weight belt. I don't really give a fuck. Like, I've had 2 weight belts, and they were both under $40, and I've taken 15 records. I'm not like gloating by any means, but let's be honest. I showed up to nationals. I got second place in nationals last year, and I was checking in my equipment, and the lady was like, it was kind of funny because I think the industry is like bougie. I showed her my powerlifting belt, and she was like, wow, that's been used. And I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with it? Like, fucking not use it? I don't know. I was just like, wow. And I was looking around, and I'm like, oh yeah, everybody's got brand new fucking belts. Like, it's not a fucking popularity contest. Show up clean and nice and stuff like that, but your shit doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's the fucking drive mentally. And then if you do look like shit, buy some new shit. Like, eventually. The next thing is small goals. And the last one is not every day is a great day. Okay? Powerlifting, we live for a few things. We live for taking records. We live for, more importantly, PRs. And we try to get better each and every single time. That does not always happen. And you're going to have days where it's difficult. It's difficult to do better. It's difficult just to get through your fucking training. Maybe you hate squats or something like that or whatever, and it's like really fucking hard. I don't hate squats. I like squatting, I like benching, and I like deadlifting. But there are variations of each that I do not enjoy. I do not enjoy block pulls necessarily. I like the fact that you can overload them and you can lift a little more. But I'm really fast off the floor, so I hate not being able to pull off of the floor. Front squats. Front squats are fine for about 4 weeks, and then they get so fucking heavy, they feel like they're trying to kill you. The extra wide bench press kills my shoulder, and I'm really weak, and I can't lift shit. So keep in mind that there are going to be little hints of things that you are getting better at, but you're not always going to notice them. That's why it's important to track your numbers and stuff like that. Maybe you hit 350 today for 3, and you're like, fuck, man, that was so fucking hard. But 3 or 4 months ago, you could only hit it for 1, and it was really trashy looking. That's a PR, guys. And that's what you live for. That's what you are doing. So, I know this is a pretty extensive video. I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys. I hope this information helps you. If you don't know how to program yourself, or you need help being coached through this, or your first powerlifting meet or something like that, email me at thrifttime@gmail.com. THRIFTTIME@gmail.com. I don't fully recommend showing up to a powerlifting event on your own the first time. After that, probably okay. But I would say the first time or the first few times, make sure you're with somebody that knows the ropes, because it's stressful enough trying to make sure that you are getting your lifts. But getting back to the judge's box within 60 seconds and figuring out your next attempt without bombing out really fucking hard, or did I go too light? Did I go too heavy? Do I need to adjust it? Holy shit, where am I going with? Is somebody on the platform? Am I on the platform? What the hell does in the hole mean? What's going on? What the fuck is on that board? Am I next? Am I fourth? What's going on? Can I go take a shit? Do I not take a shit? What do I need to eat the first day? Do I need to hydrate? Who do I talk to give my name to? It could be fucking overwhelming. Okay, you don't want to add all that shit on top of everything else. So, I hope that helps you. Be stronger than your excuses. Remember to spread love, not hate. Drink your damn water. If you're new here, go check us out on Facebook. Our group is called Healthy Living for a Healthy Life, and also on Instagram at One Big Impact. Happy lifting. Be safe.